Mr. Lawler, other distinguished guests, good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Vera Pointer Chase, and I am the president of the Commonwealth Riders of Bahamas. We mentor children riders from Abaco down to Ragged Island. We've recently taken on the Dairy Islands all-age school because our riding competition has just ended on June the 8th. I'm pleased to say that the riders of the Bahamas are the children. Our future is the children. Hopetown Primary School, we have Hopetown Primary School. We have the Mini All-Age School. We have Orange Creek and Dumfries and Can Island. We have Cabbage Hill, Crooked Island. We have Long Key All-Age School, Inago All-Age School, Ragged Island All-Age School in the Family Islands, and also Governors Harbor. In New Providence, we have Life and Key International School, Genesis Academy, Savage Lower School, Oaksville Primary School, St. Augustine's College, and Aquinas College. They are the riders in New Providence. Now, before I get started, I'd like Jerry Comerback to please stand. She's writing us.
Had a store in the Prince George Hotel, which at the time was located right next to the Royal Bank on Bay Street. And once he was in there, he decided, well, I would like to purchase the hotel. So he did purchase the Prince George Hotel, it didn't last for a very long time, but that was his ambition, and that's what he did. So all of these things, and around that same time, he decided that he wanted to go into the record industry. And he said of course he could do, before leaving New York, you had a wonderful talk about little Nassau, you packed up your grips to take you a trip. That was the calypso music. He said he wanted to change that, and he wanted to show his talent that he could do more than just that. And so he decided he was going to go to New York, and he hired a conductor, arranger by the name of Sammy Lowe. He also hired Lloyd Price, the original, who made the hit Stagger Lee and Personality Walk, Personality Talk. And he told him, please set the studio up, hire the Ray Charles singers, hire all the musicians, because he had two songs that he wanted to do. One was called Sincerely and Tenderly, and the other one was called Love is an Ocean of Emotion. He was going to go heavily into the record industry and start a record company, Famo Records. And so he did that. He went to New York and recorded 4 songs. He also did Jingle Bell and White Christmas, I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. And so he brought those records back here. There were 2 45s, 2 Christmas songs, and then the 2 ballads. But just to go back in time, back to 1953, my father had a very, very good opportunity to really stay in the United States and become an artist by himself as Freddie Munnings. There was a young widower at the time called Rebecca Harkness, who her husband had just passed, and she inherited or whatever about $28 million in the early 50s. Now she had a passion for culture and dance and music. And when her husband died, she wrote 2 songs for him. He died of a heart attack, so she wrote, one of the songs was Tulips in the Springtime, which I'll play a little bit of that a little later on, and the second song was called My Heart. And she was looking for someone to sing these songs. So she lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and my father was studying at the Boston Conservatory at the time. So she went to Boston, not knowing, but just saying that she wants to find someone. She went there, and the professor there, the music professor, said, well, if you're looking for someone to sing a song, I have a student in the class. His name is Freddie Munnings. And so he called my father into the room. She gave him the music and the lyrics. And after 2 words, she said, I don't need to hear anyone else. That's the voice I want. And quote unquote, the rest is history. They got on a train from Boston and went to St. Louis, and they recorded 4 songs. In the Blue Baby, which was very popular by Frank Sinatra at the time. She did they did an arrangement of Loft House Alice Sims song of Gumbe. Gumbe Man would be the drum, but they used a 45-piece orchestra in 1953, and I'm going to play a little bit of that a little later on once you're milling around or whatever. And then she did the two songs that Rebecca Harkness did. You can Google these names out when you get a chance later on tonight. And this song, Tulips in the Springtime and My Heart, when you hear them today, it sounds like they were just recorded today. But what happened was, she told my boss, said, Freddie, you don't need to go back to the Bahamas. Whatever you need, just stay right here, and we're gonna get you booked across the United States and into Europe and the world. Because the songs, after she let it hear for the respective people in the business, they knew these songs would go. But he said that once he was there for 2 months, he started to get homesick. And she said, no, you don't have to go, everything is okay. So he said, one day he just couldn't take it anymore, and he didn't like to fly. So he got on a train from St. Louis, went to New York, got on a boat, headed back to Nassau, and he said he sent up a wire from the cruise ship saying he's going back to Nassau because there's some unfinished business in the Bahamas that he has to do, which concerns, again, some of the things that were happening in the country at that time. Of course, the lady was very upset because they had him booked. If you wanted to book Nat King Cole or Lena Horne, you had to book him first because they were promoting his music and trying to get him introduced into the music industry. And he walked away from that to come back here to Nassau and do what he had to do. Like I said, I'm sure you've heard the history that way. So he was a very proud man, a very talented man. And like I said, at that time in '53, he was already the most popular musician and band leader in the country. And he decided that he wanted to go and further his education. Flashback to the time of all of these, like I said, he had all the different, it was called Avon, Bahamian International, which was the parent company for Palmo Records. You had the Silver Round, the Gumbe Club, the Cat and Fiddle, the Jonquillo Club in Freeport, a real empire. And so there's another side to the story. We won't go into that part of it, but like I said, all these businesses built very quickly. And to flashback, because he told me so many stories, and we are doing a documentary, and we are writing a book about his life, and I'm sure at that time you'll be able to look at all of the tidbits and see all the intricate photos and his sayings, because we got a lot of video footage. But one story that he told me that stuck in my mind was his good friend Sidney Poitier, when they were about 14 or 15 years old, they used to try to sneak into the cinema theater. And so one day the man, I think it was Charlie Smith, so he caught them trying to sneak and look at the movie through a little hole in the wall or whatever. So he got out the bullwhip and put it on them. So that's the last time they ever tried to go and sneak into the movie like that. But Sidney left Nassau shortly after that to pursue his acting career in New York. And my father said that, he was sad to see his friend go. But about 5 years later, he took a trip to New York and again had a chance to meet with Sidney. So when he got into Grand Central Station, he said he couldn't believe it because he was sitting there waiting for Sidney, who was going to come and meet him in Grand Central and then take him around New York to show him around. So when Sidney came up, he told Sidney, man, look, I'm so proud today a white man shined my shoes. And I tip him. I mean, because that would never happen here in Nassau, of course. So he said, I think I'm going to move to the United States because I feel good to see this. The people living in harmony and the race relations seem to be so good. So Sidney said, well, yeah, I tell you what, I'm a dishwasher at this restaurant over town, and I'm going to invite you to come where I wash the dishes. So of course, that evening he went to the restaurant, and Sidney said to FM, now look across the counter and tell me what you see. So he looked across, he saw black, white sitting together, having conversations, eating, and what's wrong? So he said, now, Freddie, come in the back and look through the window. He saw the same thing. People now having mutual conversations and enjoying each other's presence. So he said, now look very carefully. If you look, all the white people are eating in pink dishes, and all the black people are eating in blue dishes. See, that's the discrimination. Now I'm a dishwasher. So if I ever put the pink dishes and the blue dishes in the same water, I just buy it myself. So he said, wow. After saying that, he said he was on the boat, and you don't take the plane. He said on the next day he was on, he said, well, I'm going back to the Bahamas because we got to fix the problem back there. If it can be that subtle, but that serious, then I really don't need to be in this country. And that is just one of the stories, like I say, once we tell the whole story. But he came back to the Bahamas, and like Freddie and Duke was saying, made his contributions to trying to make the changes that we now, and the privileges that we now have today as Bahamians. And there's still a long way to go, like Freddie said. So all of these things, this is just a short version because they said they only given us 10 minutes, and I'm trying to stay within the time. So I would like to thank you all, and like I say, stay tuned. The documentary is coming, the books are coming, and I'd like to say once again, thank you very much for entertaining us.